according to the fire department out here, earlier this afternoon, a car was being towed down the street with a flat tire. If you look very, very carefully, you can actually see the indentation in the road that the flat tire was making. That flat tire, when it was being towed, caused a lot of sparks to fly over here onto the side of the road. As you can see, that caught the grass on fire out here.
News 8's Reagan Hackleman is live on the scene with an update. Reagan, what is the latest there?
Paul, real quick, we actually might have to move. We're in the way of an EMS truck. We're going to go ahead and move over here. Sorry about that. It's kind of a chaotic scene out here. We have a lot of EMS, a lot of firefighters out here inside of this EMS truck right here. There was a firefighter just walked up with a very young child in his hands that was kind of limp. It worried us for a second. We did ask one of the assistant chiefs of the fire department if that baby was okay, and she said the baby was simply hot. They were evaluating it. It's not often that you can stand in the middle of Lady Bird Lake. I'm News 8 Austin City reporter Reagan Hackleman. I'll let you know why the lake is down 2 feet in the past 2 weeks. Now let's take a look at this video. I shot it on my little flip camera here when I was walking through here. In total, this dump, or this old dump site, is 3 acres in size, and the trash is actually 6 to 7 feet underneath the ground. But as you can see from this video, there's still a lot of trash that's on top of the ground. There's a lot of really old Coke bottles, some very thick Coke bottles out here. There's a lot of metal out here, and the city says there's a lot of stuff that's underneath the ground, but there is some good news. There is something that is not underneath the ground.
Fortunately, most of these really old ones, like this one, were operated before there was really widespread use of pesticides and other kind of really hazardous chemicals.
Now the city of Austin just has to determine how they're going to clean it up. The staff at the city has recommended spending about $2 million to completely come in here and just dig all of this property up, get all of the trash out of here, and replant everything so they can, for once and for all, they can get this cleaned up.
It's hard to imagine anyone living inside of this trailer in rural Bastrop County. But for 3 days, as many as 25 people were crammed into the trailer with no air conditioning.
It's still under investigation.
The Bastrop County Sheriff's Department says they were hostages smuggled into the country illegally.
We've never had a situation like this before in Bastrop County.
The trailer is practically hidden from sight off of Farm to Market Road 672.
It's scary. It's very scary.
This woman, who does not want us to identify her, lives just a few feet from the trailer. Her family rented the trailer to a man who says he was going to remodel it. According to her, her family had no idea the trailer was full of immigrants being held hostage. Even worse, police say 3 of the hostages, all women, were being sexually assaulted.
I had my daughter here. We had kids that from the age of 3 to 10 years old, all girls. You know, it's very scary. We never knew that that was going on.
The Bastrop County Sheriff says they found out about the hostages after one managed to escape through this hole. When police arrived here at the trailer with a search warrant, they found 6 other hostages and 2 of the suspects. As far as the other hostages and the other suspect, right now police don't know where they are.
We're very actively looking for them. And I mean, based on the information we have, I mean, we're obviously concerned about these folks' well-being and their safety.
But right now, the sheriff doesn't have much to work with. No names, no descriptions, and 2 suspects in custody who aren't saying much.
It's probably going to be quite some time before we have all this wrapped up.
Reagan. Now, Christina, the sheriff tells us that the suspects were trying to get more money from the families of the hostages. We're not sure if they were successful doing that. We can also tell you this, that the 7 hostages that police freed from this trailer, they're in Austin right now in a shelter. Reporting live in Bastrop County, Reagan Hackleman, News 8 Austin.
If John Tyndall had a problem and needed to call a city council member to help clean it up,
I wouldn't know where to start.
one reason he wouldn't know where to start, because all 6 city council members represent him.
It's unusual. Most cities don't run that way.
Could you also explain that?
In fact, Austin is the largest city in the state that still elects city leaders at large. But Tyndall's state senator, Jeff Wentworth of San Antonio, wants to change how Austin elects its city leaders.
At any point, if you want.
Wentworth has filed a bill requiring Austin to switch to single-member districts.
Right now, these 6 city council members are elected by everyone in Austin, and they represent everyone in Austin. This is an example of what single-member districts could look like. Let's say you live here in the green section, South Austin. That means someone on the city council is elected by people in South Austin, and they also live in South Austin.
Single-member districts are needed. We support it.
Community activist Gus Pena thinks single-member districts would bring more Hispanic voices to the council, but he believes having it forced on Austin is not the way to go about it.
The state of Texas should not mandate to the citizens of the city of Austin. Let it be a citywide election, and it'll be a fair process according to the city charter.
Motion passes unanimously.
Even though more than half of the council supports the idea of single-member districts, all 7 voted Monday to oppose Senator Wentworth's bill.
It's probably something that should be done at a citywide level. But as far as having single-member districts, that makes a lot of sense to me.
It makes sense to a lot of people, but only if voters in Austin get to decide, not a vote at the state capitol.
If there's a 40% increase, that'll bring Austin's numbers almost even with the city of San Francisco.
The reality is cities can do this. If San Francisco can do it, let me assure you, any city in the United States can do it, especially Austin.
Join us next time and we'll explain how the Golden Gate City is able to keep more than 70% of its trash out of area landfill.
News 8 City reporter Reagan Hackleman made the trip to the Golden Gate City to find out why.
San Francisco, home to one of the country's most ambitious zero-waste programs.
And we're about to come out in a few months with new numbers that will show us over 70%.
That's right, 70% of San Francisco's trash gets recycled. Compare that to just 28% of Austin's trash. The rest gets buried at a landfill.
There's no reason that you couldn't increase your recycling rates to 50+% in just a few years.
So why is San Francisco so far ahead when it comes to eliminating waste?
This is Recycle Central. It's a 200,000 square foot recycling facility.
That's one big reason. As of now, Austin's city-owned recycling center is a fraction of the size. 7 days a week, 700 tons of glass, plastic, aluminum, cardboard, and paper get sorted, smashed, and loaded at San Francisco's plant. In Austin, that number is less than 100 tons a day.
Bag is currently running with a blower on that.
Head north about 70 miles and you'll find another reason why San Francisco is recycling more than Austin. In fact, it's a service the city of Austin doesn't even offer. Composting. Every day, the amount of organic material composted from San Francisco weighs as much as not one, but 2 747 Boeing jumbo jets.
When we look at a pile of what most people would consider garbage, 90 or 95% of it is something that could be either recycled or composted. We see resources.
Resources that add to the bottom line of San Francisco's private waste collection company.
We pay the garbage company more the more they recycle, which is the exact opposite of most garbage contracts.
But how are they able to collect so much trash to recycle?
And what we do is simply different bins to make it obvious where people dispose of their waste.
Simple enough. Everyone in San Francisco, including businesses, gets 3 cans. Green for compostables, blue for anything recyclable, and black for trash. The bigger the black can or trash can, the more you pay. Here in Austin, the city only collects recyclables from homes. Businesses and apartment complexes must rely on private companies.
If it once was alive, it goes in here.
San Francisco is home to more than 3,500 restaurants. All of them are required to recycle.
People want to walk in an establishment where their food is, number one, not farm raised. It does have sustainable business practices associated with it, and that we are leaving a smaller footprint on our planet.
They built it from scratch.
San Francisco's mayor has some advice for Austin when it comes to making that footprint smaller.
Demand change, demand policy changes, and demand accountability, not just to ideas and rhetoric, but to follow through in action.
Action and changes that are on their way to Austin, but we're still years behind San Francisco when it comes to zero waste.